Hello, everybody. Here is Sub Charlie. I'll be your host for this run. Um, we have Corey here, who's a Decord Skylanders speedrunner. Um, to you, Corey,
Hi.
you want to say a word?
Yeah, I'm running Skylanders Giants on the 3DS, and this has got to be one of my favorite speedruns of all time. I've been running this game specifically for about 7 years, off and on.
Well, that's pretty cool. Um, um, are there any So this is any percent, right? So
Yeah, just
no
running any
glitches.
percent new file. There's quite a lot of glitches that we'll see here. Um, I'm also joined here today with Universe, who is the world record holder for Spire's Adventure on the Wii for pretty much
Hello.
every category. Well, not pretty much, just actually. Um, So thanks for joining me for this.
Yeah, I know
Um,
nothing about this game, but somebody had to be here.
yeah, the 3DS games aren't very well known compared to the console games, but they're very different. Um, I'm kind of eager to get this going. So is there anything to wait for?
I don't think so. I think you can go ahead and start.
Okay, I'll do a countdown. Start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so starting off this game, this entire speedrun only uses 2 Skylanders, which is very different from the console games where they can use upwards of like 10 or 15, depending on the game. Um, but for this game, we get to use my favorite Skylander ever, Wrecking Ball. And we also get to use um, Prism Break, who is not a very fast Skylander, but has some very important use in this run. These two characters are just very broken in this game. Um, got to get through this intro section here, and we're off to the first level.
Do you have the figures with you, or is
Yeah,
it like virtual?
so the figures get scanned in using a portal and the 3DS's infrared sensor. I am running on a real 3DS with a capture card installed.
Wow.
So first thing you'll see here is Wrecking Ball's super jump, and then Prism Break's flight, which
Hmm.
this is just not intended at all. Um, but the thing is that so normally in a lot of platformers, when you jump and hold the jump button, it makes you go higher. This game applies that height boost to other attacks as well as jumps. So I am holding the jump button and using Prism Break's X attack, which normally just spawns a crystal in front of him. And this just allows him to get infinite height pretty much. And for this level, we're just using this to fly over the majority of the level.
This is
Used to play.
insane.
It is. It's a little bit boring for this level, but it gets a bit more complicated in some of the other ones. This level, it just makes more sense to fly over all of it since there are so many like cutscenes and stuff with it being the first level. Um, it's normally supposed to go through all this area down here. There's an arena in that circular area where you have to rescue Flynn, and there's cutscenes and everything with that, but we don't have to do any of that since we can just fly over all of it with Prism Break here.
How much time does this save?
Um, well, it depends. I forget what Glitchless has for this. Um, so these characters are not fastest with movement, like by a significant amount.
Yeah.
But there are some levels that are still faster glitchless just because you can use faster characters.
Hmm.
That's the first level of the game done. There's 19 levels in total in this. And 3 of them are like boss fights, arena battles. A lot of them are under a minute though, so we'll get through this pretty quickly.
How much time does the game take to complete for a normal playthrough?
A normal playthrough, gosh, it's been a while since I've done one of those. I'd say like maybe 2 hours. Um, glitchless is like I only have in-game time in my head because glitchless is under an hour, in-game time, but it's probably like 1 hour 20 real time.
Mm, I
Whereas
see.
real time record for this is 49 minutes or so. So onto the second level here. The main plot of this game is there are some pirates that have escaped their they were banished to some magical chest and they have escaped now, and we have to find clues and track them down again.
That doesn't sound like Skylanders Giants at all.
No, it's very different. So the 3DS games have completely different plots, different levels, different mechanics, and there's no chaos at all.
Oh.
Yep, entirely different enemies and such. So we're gonna see another important part of the run here, and that is that these sub-areas are stored way above the normal level, and we can abuse this by going into a sub-area and leaving it. So you can see way down there at the bottom of the screen, that's the normal level. And we're just going to fly forward for a while until that last bit of green plant disappears from the screen. And then switch to Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball has faster air movement, falls faster than Prison Break, so when we're not needing to move around, it's better to just follow as Wrecking Ball. And that's the second level of the game. They're not
Wow.
all like this, but a lot of them are.
Wow.
I think the next one is we get to see a bit more of the level played normally. Still not most of it, but more.
Reminding me a bit of Imaginators.
Oh yeah. Imaginators has on console has some similar stuff with air stalling, but this game did it first, so
Yeah.
I just realized my Wrecking Ball is actually underleveled. I forgot to fix that.
Okay.
So the level cap goes up to 15 in this game, and I'm at 10.
It only affects health still, right?
In this game, it affects upgrades. Your level affects upgrades, but you get all your upgrades before level 10. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So just a bit more of normal movement in this game. Every character in this game gets a dash and a double jump, just out of the box. Wrecking Ball just gets a lot more movement options on top of this. Wrecking Ball has this super jump that can act as like a third jump in the air, or it can be charged up to send him really high, like that. And Wrecking Ball also has another movement option with his tongue attack. See if I can get over that invisible wall. There we go. So we played the start of that level normally, but we're just going to fly to the end here instead of going around that windy path.
If I understand well, this isn't like a super big community, so are you the one who discovered all those speedrun strategies?
Actually, for this game, I'm the person who implemented a lot of this, but the glitches were found by a very old member of the community named Stade, more well known for finding some stuff for consoles, Skylander Giants. Stade didn't actually do any runs of their own, but they found a ton of glitches.
I was gonna say that's a name I've never heard before,
Oh yeah, that's like
which is
2018.
rare.
Yeah. But the community's actually, it's pretty sizable now. Not for the 3DS games, but in general, it's pretty sizable. Our
Oh
Discord's at
yeah,
like 520 something now.
I'd say it's a pretty mid-sized speedrun community. It's a surprisingly large community for a game, so I don't know. It's kind of difficult to get into.
Yeah, the Skylanders games can be quite difficult to get into just due to the barrier with having to actually get the figures and
Yeah. Like a lot of the runners are people that have the figures from when they played the
yeah,
games as a kid, so they're all around our
runners
age.
and collectors and
Yeah.
like I'm a collector myself. I've got a wall of Skylanders behind me. um, this level is one of a couple that can be completed in under a minute.
My
And let's
favorite.
see. Okay, I missed an input and fell a bit too far there, so the invisible walls are kind of high in this game. Anyways, you can see that whole level out in front of us. Normally, you would go through all of that area, and it's actually... I really like the design of this level, but they just decided to put the end of the level off to the side here.
It was
And
easier
this
that
is
way, I
the
guess.
first boss of the run. There's 3 of these, and the difficulty curve on the bosses is not... it does not make sense. First guy is easy, though. So... Wrecking Ball is also surprisingly good at combat in this game. It's got very quick attacks that do good damage, even though I'm not leveled up all the way. There's 3 rounds of combat here. I've got to take care of all the enemies and collect the coins. If I don't collect the coins, the rounds don't advance. Alright. And then in a second here, we'll see. I'm using specifically Light Core Prism Break, because the first time that you summon him into a level, he does 100 damage to anything on screen, which is useful for boss fights and a couple other places. There's 99 damage, and the boss is gone. Four levels down.
I'd also like to remind everyone the donation link is below. All donation goes toward cancer. Well, being people from cancer, not cancer itself.
Right.
But
Research and stuff.
yeah, research. So feel free to donate. You know, it helps out. It's the cause, and
This next level is only slightly faster to do in an out-of-bounds way than a normal way, but it's faster, so I'm gonna do it. There's a lot of trial and error in figuring out where things are stored in this game, because all those interior rooms are just stored up in the air somewhere in these levels. And this level happens to be directly like backwards from the start. Yeah, so here's this room. This is supposed to be a room much later, and you're supposed to get a key to get in this gate here, but actually I was not supposed to get in bounds here. So we will have to get back out of bounds here. Might take a moment. There we go. So that puts us near the end of the level. There's just this last section up here with a spiral tower. Normally you're supposed to run all the way around the tower, but why would you do that when you can just go up the side of it? And there's just enough height on Wrecking Ball's attacks to get you up here. Alright. So we're gonna get a bit of a break from the crazy tech in these levels and get some more normal-like levels coming up next. The next two levels are relatively normal and actually faster to do on glitchless because you can use a faster character in that category.
Wait, so characters are there's like banned characters for categories that you can't use?
You can only have two scanned in at a time, and for any percent, it just makes sense to have these two scanned in. But these are scanned in because of their glitches. For glitchless, you use a different character. You use Flameslinger because he has the fastest movement speed in the game.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. You can only have two at a time.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And you can only swap characters in the hub, and it takes a bit of time to do that, so it just isn't worth swapping in most cases. There's been a couple exceptions over time with the route changing, but generally less figures is better for the 3DS games. We get to see just more... I really just love this game for the Wrecking Ball movement tech. It feels very fun to me. I've had some people compare Wrecking Ball movement in this game to like Mario 64.
My first thought was SpongeBob.
Oh yeah. But we've got launch attack, got the tongue attack that pulls you forward. It's a lot of stuff. And we used to use the Wing Boots magic item, which lets you get like a temporary speed boost for 30 coins. However, with the amount of stuff that we skip in glitchless now, it's actually not worth scanning it in.
This kind of looks like Mario Odyssey movement too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of moves that you can do with this character. I really like this. I'm not usually a platformer fan, but for this series I make an exception. And that's another use of Light Core Prison Break to just clear out that arena just by swapping. So at the end of the level, the coins that you have turn into experience, and if either of your characters match the elements of the day, it'll like double your coins, so you get like double the experience from that, but that also takes longer, so you don't want to match the element of the day. And it just happens that today, it is not either of the elements that I'm playing.
Wait, so are there days where you'd rather not speedrun because you could get a disadvantage?
So I actually generally don't pay much attention to it since the game is timed using in-game time, shown on the menu afterwards. But for real time, it does matter a little bit. So, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could change your 3DS's, you could change the date on it to a date that you know would work. But it's just a bit of a hassle. This works out nicely today that it's not these elements. Alright. Just skipping a couple of... Oops. Don't mind me. Just fell in there. But there's a couple sections that we can just skip here, like going up to that there, but okay. I didn't charge my super jump enough there. So I'm trying to explain and do the thing. But we can skip going to that launch pad over there and just go directly here.
Oh, whoa. That was cool.
Pig. There are pigs stuck in the tornadoes. That's a thing that you have to save if you're doing 100% for this game. Which 100% for this game is actually kind of a lot of fun. I need to relearn it. There's another spirally tower similar to the one at the end of 2 levels ago. And we do a similar thing, we just go up the side of it. There's an element gate there. The element gates, we actually do use an elemental gate at one point later in the run, just because it works out for out-of-bounds stuff. But almost every elemental gate can be clipped into with just these characters. So in 100% you don't even need to have all the elements.
Actually makes this the most accessible 100% in
Yeah.
any of the games.
It needs a 5 figures minimum. That's because the boss fights require certain elements.
Yeah.
Alright. So I believe that we are finding a propeller for Flynn's ship. Several of the levels in this game are just trying to find things to fix Flynn's broken ship, because it's first ship, it keeps breaking down. Nothing good ever happens.
What is the end goal of lore this game?
The end goal is to find, defeat, and capture Captain Frightbeard, who is the leader of these evil pirates that have been released from their prison. He's not a character that you see in much of the other games. I think he makes an appearance in Superchargers Racing, but no, he's not a character that you see in the other games at all. So it's very interesting that the 3DS has such a different plot and characters and all. We're on to the 4th world here, which is all abandoned amusement park themed. Another parallel to Skylanders Imaginators. I actually like these 3 levels here, though. They've got some interesting route to them.
Fun fact, Captain Frightbeard also appears in one of the volumes of the Skylanders comic book series.
Oh. Gosh, yeah, I don't know much about the comics.
I don't know anything about them either, I just learned that they exist.
So there was a key gate there, but I did not open it, even though I got the key. That's because the key gates take a couple seconds to open. It's just quicker to just go over it. And this is one of the couple levels.
What do the key gates give? What do the key gates do?
They just block your progress until you get a key, but with these characters, not so much. Like, that's a battle gate down there. You normally have to defeat the enemies in front of it for it to open. But same deal, it's not really a problem for us.
Yeah.
Like, there's a key gate down here too, but we're just completely bypassing it. There's some more enemies here. We don't do all that much combat outside of the arena levels. And here we found an old robot who can help us find more towards our clues. a lot of this is find X character, find item for said character, and then character tells you where the clue is, and that's kind of the structure for the worlds. So I believe the next world we have to go turn on power to another part of the amusement park, but we have to go through a Western themed section of it first. Um, However, this is another level that can be beaten in under a minute, so we won't get to see all that much of it. You get to see something a little bit different though, because we get to see Wrecking Ball flip through a wall. Most of the time we've just been going over walls, but there are certain cases where you can just go through them. And this happens to be one of them. This was, again, found by Stade back in, like, 2018, 2019.
Is it hard to do?
Nope. That's how you do it. You just jump
Yeah,
up in the
that's
corner of it and pull yourself through with your tongue. I'm on some invisible geometry here, and I'm just getting out of bounds, because they put all these rooms next to each other, and it happens that the end of this level is stored in a room. I'm gonna try to get underneath of this room to avoid the loading zone. I didn't avoid the loading zone, but that's okay. That's the end of that level. The next one is one of the longest levels in the game, both glitchless and glitched. And it's all themed after like one of those carnival swan rides. Tunnel of Love. I've never actually seen one of those in real life.
I have to say the art direction is always beautiful for Skylander games.
I'm a big fan of this. The style definitely does change a bit between some of the games. Yeah.
Yeah, it still keeps the same like idea, which is really cool.
Tunnel of Love gimmick here is we have this water, and the water has some interesting properties. It can give you a lot of momentum, but that momentum cancels when you do a double jump. So a lot of the time I'm just going to be doing like single jumps to try to avoid that. So it does give you quite a lot of momentum. And then up here I'm going to get out of bounds again, as you do. It's possible to get over this without swapping to Prism Break, but it's difficult, so I just do it to ensure that I get over. And that skips a whole little area over there where you have to do an arena and flip a switch and open a gate. But we can just keep rolling. I do like how fast this feels with the water. Oh, and that sometimes your momentum just goes away on its own too. And these platforms with water also have the weird momentum property, so it can be annoying to work with sometimes. So it's kind of like ice physics, but it's kind of not. And coming up here, we have some skips that are perfectly allowed and glitchless. There's this whole spirally section here with all these intertwined paths, but you can just jump down to a lower path instead of going around in a spiral.
Oh, this looks clean.
Yeah. You just do that. Do that like 3 times or so. It always feels so slow in this section though when you run out of the water. Get used to going fast. Almost at the end of the water slides here. And the next world is all, like, it's the rust marshes. So it's all swampy, it's all green and rust and not particularly pleasant. But it has some significant skips going on in it that they're more recent compared to a lot of the other stuff in this game, and so I have made an effort to practice them so I don't forget them. So I have a habit of mixing up the swamp levels. Let's see.
When you say recent, what amount of time? When was it discovered?
I say recent, but it's probably been a couple years actually. I don't get around to running this game too often anymore. Just occasionally I'll go for it, and I mean
Yeah.
it's harder to have motivation to run a game without competition a lot of the time. But I do like this game a lot, so I've improved record on my own about 22 times over the past 7 years. It's fun.
I,
I
I'll
think I
just
started.
stop you. I'll just stop you for a second. Thanks a lot to Brady Bunch for the $50. This
Oh,
really does help. This is always a step closer to buzzing his hair off. So thanks a lot.
yeah, very nice. All right. So we've already swapped to Prism Break, so I can't just use his ability here to take out these enemies, but that's okay. Wrecking Ball can do plenty of damage on their own. And I also leveled up there, which I shouldn't be doing that, because I should already be level 15, but I am not. That's okay, though. And that is a thing about the Skylanders games, is that they just let you... the speedruns let you use characters that are already leveled up and everything. I think some of the games have a reset category on their category extensions, but it's not popular.
Wait, aren't the when you start the run, if the characters are already leveled up, that means it's like stored into the figures?
Yeah, the characters store their levels, their gold on the console, and their upgrades on console, as well as some other stuff, like their hats. Like I'm wearing a funny little winged hat here. It doesn't actually, the winged hat doesn't do anything in this game, but in the console games it gives you a speed boost. So I have it on Wrecking Ball from messing around with that.
Are there
Here we
any
have a...
cosmetics that give an advantage?
In this game, no. On the next game in the series on 3DS, there are actual stat bonuses to the hats, but for the first two on 3DS, there's not. On console, there always has been. And it matters significantly more on console than it does for any of the 3DS games that it does affect. So that was first of 3 swamp levels. And the next one, we actually get to go into one of the elemental gates. We just don't go into it in an intended way at all. Just have to remember which direction I have to fly off to get to it. It's not... it's faster than doing the level normally, but not hugely faster, so I mean, it's enough that it matters, but sometimes I do just want to do the level normally. But no, we're flying back left here, and there's going to be... Eventually there's going to be an interesting patch of void where we can't fly with Prison Break anymore, and instead it makes it so we're like always on the ground and we can jump constantly. It's very strange, the different types of void that this game has. There we go. So now I can just jump with Wrecking Ball constantly here. I don't quite understand why this is a thing, but it is. And we're gonna
Yeah,
head
that is
over
interesting.
to this section here, which is actually the undead elemental zone. And we're just going to go to the top of it here. Normally there's a whole section where you have to climb up and avoid rising poisoned water, but we can just go to the top of it, and it puts us at the entrance to the undead elemental gate, which also happens to be right by the end of the level. And the game calls this thing a grappling hook for some reason. I don't know why they think that that is what it is, but I mean, hey, if it works to get the ship out of the muck, it works.
Might be a translation. Where was this game made?
America?
Man, how did they do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's called that, but I don't need to question it. Next level, try to remember, it's got more normal gameplay in it, and then it's followed by what might be the hardest boss in this game. There's 3 boss levels, but the middle one is disproportionately stronger.
Oh, good. It's like a instead of a difficulty curve, it's like a difficulty triangle.
Yeah. Just a random spike at the boss here. We have to get through this first, though. We've got these fans here. If somebody says that they're the biggest Skylanders fan, they're not. These are. They're pretty
I would
big.
never claim such a thing.
There's also some massive saw blades. I don't understand what purpose they serve, but they are here.
I was just about to say that I'm the biggest Skylanders saw, but I guess that's also not true.
No. There's some competition there. There's some smaller fan platforms. And there's some platforming up here that can actually be a little bit tricky at times. Just with cycles, and yeah. But it works out. And normally, this section up here, you have to go out to the side and flip a switch that rotates one of the arms like a clock hand, and then go to the other side, do the same thing. We don't have to do any of that.
It's funny, you don't even need Prison Break.
Yeah. That's... Prison Break was found later than Wrecking Ball stuff, so there's a lot of strats that I just learned with Wrecking Ball. Also, that boss that we talked about at the end there, he does make like a Mario reference, like your princess is in another castle reference for some reason. I don't understand why that's a thing, but sure. Anyways, this arena's got 3 phases and then the boss phase. And we're gonna try to not switch to Prison Break until the boss, just to save that light core blast. And this is a point where having Wrecking Ball a higher level would be a bit better, just to be able to do damage to these a bit quicker. There will also be an intentional death in this level, just because reviving a Skylander only costs 60 coins. That is not where the intentional death is supposed to be. I'm just gonna grab some food, because I'm not supposed to die yet. And if I did, that would actually be pretty bad. Luckily, there's abundant food. Where's the enemies? Like, Wrecking Ball is pretty good with combat. Nice level up there. Got 75 coins, 76 coins, so we have more than enough to revive our Skylander when they die. Because they will.
Would you say combat levels are the hardest?
I would say that this level is pretty difficult, especially like casually, when using like characters that aren't terribly good with combat. This one's very annoying, because this guy, he just does about a third of your health every time that he explodes like that. It's really not fair at all. And this is actually not great. He's got a handful of different attacks he does, and we want him to do his mid-range attack, and he is not doing it. That's a long-range attack. Okay, he's gonna explode. I'm actually not gonna die yet. This fight is not going terribly well for me. But what I want to be is, like, I want him to use his mid-range attack. That's the mid-range attack. Because that has a long duration to it, and it has a lot of, like, end lag on it, so he takes a while to explode here. And that's our intentional death. So we just swap right back and keep going. That's not the mid-range attack, that's close range. And he's dead. Okay. He has so much health.
Yeah, that was insane. It's just you just have to stand there for so long.
It's so annoying. And it's so... I used to die there a lot, back in the day when I used Stealth Elf and Gilgrunt for this run.
Good to know that Stealth Elf has permeated throughout more than just SSA.
I mean, she has become pretty much obsolete in 3DS.
At least at some point.
Aside from Spyro's Adventure any percent, like, I don't think... Yeah, we have removed her from 100% for Spyro's Adventure. No. No, still in there for 100% Spyro's Adventure. Not 100% for this game. Right. Trying to remember. Anyways, this level is actually pretty fun. No major skips in it. Just a bunch of minor stuff. What we have to do in this level is we have to go and destroy 5 cannons on top of towers in order to allow us to fly allow Flynn to fly the ship closer to the main section here. And the nice thing about these towers is that they're like the perfect height for Wrecking Ball to just go up to like that. The camera's a bit weird, that's okay. But there's just a bunch of smaller skips in this level. Like that. Going around that key gate there. Climbing up here. 2 cannons down. We're almost at the end of the run. There are 3 more levels after this. And 2 of them take less than a minute, and the last one is the final boss. So we are almost done with this run.
Cruising.
This is the last, like, real level, in my opinion. It's actually kind of a shame, because the next 2 levels are pretty interesting levels. We just don't get to see very much of them at all. Here we can just jump off to the side instead of going all the way around. I don't know what this water is. It looks like blood, but I don't think it's blood. I don't know. I don't remember if there's an explanation for why it's that color, but yep. One more cannon to destroy. That's way up there in the distance.
That is cool. There's a canon blood ocean in Skylanders lore. That's good to
Yeah.
know.
Why wouldn't there be?
Keep that one in mind.
A neat thing about this level is it doesn't actually matter the order that you destroy the cannons in. There's obviously an intended order, and that's the fastest way to do it, but if you want to, you could go do it backwards. Then I don't know why you would, but I've done it. Level ends properly and everything. There's a slight chance that the next level will softlock me. I had that happen the last time that I ran this at a marathon. If that happens, I'll just have to restart the game, but it won't take that long. And it's not very likely to happen, but you know marathon luck and all. But this is...
King of Marathon. Oh, wait, go ahead, go ahead.
But this is the fastest level in the game.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone the donation link is below for cancer research. We still have a couple thousand to go to beat the 2024 record, so yeah, thanks a lot.
Here we just go underneath the level, because for some reason they store the end of this level inside the level. And that's the level.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a whole massive level there with going around the main tower, going inside of it, doing a bunch of puzzles, doing a whole thing floating over the top of the world, but they just put the end of the level inside the level. So we just go to the inside of the level. And the next level's got a very similar thing going on with it. They just put the end near the start, so you just have to know where to look for it. So it's been a lot of trial and error and just floating around trying to find where things are stored. Though there is also a debug mode for this game. So I can see coordinates with that, which has been a little bit helpful. Like, the debug mode is still in the game. I don't need to patch the game or anything. I just need to click a button that's off screen. And I'm too high up, I don't need to be this high up. Okay, so what we do here is instead of going forward, we go backwards. Because way down here at the bottom is this room, which is connected to the last room, very conveniently. And that's Captain Frightbeard, final boss of the game.
I'm very scared.
It's actually, like, the death screen in this game is kind of disturbing, compared to other, like, Skylanders death screens. Because it's just Captain Frightbeard staring at you and laughing with really ominous music. but we don't get to see that. Anyways, more arena stuff here. There will also likely be a death in this boss fight, just for the same reason of it's quicker to just like die and respawn than to try to dodge everything. I'm actually not going to use Prism Break's light core ability here right away because there's like damage caps for each one of his phases here, and Wrecking Ball can do more than enough damage there. So it just said got hungry in the corner, and that's because I got and then hit by elements. Those are goals that you have to avoid for 100% for this game, and it is super annoying to do that. Because sometimes these elemental attacks will just spawn right on top of you without warning. Same with food. Sometimes there's just food that shows up. And I will switch here after using that, because he stands here for a while to use that sword attack. I can get some good damage in there. I wish I had some more health here. This is a bit uncomfortable. So we got enough coins to revive if I need. He's got 4 different types of elemental sword attacks, and most of them are fine to deal with. The earth one, where he throws a rock, is the easiest to deal with, and the lightning attack is the worst one. It's RNG though, so but the lightning one is annoying because it actually makes a whole quadrant of the area like inaccessible, and that makes it a lot harder to defeat these enemies that you need to. Fire and the magic ones that are shown here, they're not too bad to deal with. They just do damage if you get close to them. Let's see about this. So he's gonna start charging us and doing... Oh, nope. Okay, that was actually pretty fast last level, and that's time.
Oh
Okay.
wow,
I
nice.
didn't expect that to end that quick. I'm gonna keep the game open for a little bit longer so I can check in-game time on it. But that's yeah, that was time there on defeating the boss.
That was really cool. GG's.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's gonna go back to main menu quick. I just use in-game time for this game because it's been more convenient to do that, just with the difficulty of recording 3DS runs a lot of the time. So minimum proof for non-world record runs for this game is just a photo of your final time. So here I got a 40:09, which is pretty good.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah. That's Skylanders Giants 3DS. Yeah.
Well, congrats. That was that looked. I loved the game. Looked really good.
It's really fun. Thanks for having me on to showcase this. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know if we're supposed to